It was just after midnight, and I was driving home from a late shift at the diner. The road was one of those long, lonely stretches of highway that cuts through miles of dark farmland, with nothing but the occasional flicker of a distant farmhouse light to keep you company. I had my music on, trying to stay awake, when my headlights caught something in the rearview mirror. It was a single headlight, bobbing and weaving, a motorcycle. At first, I didn't think much of it. It's a public road, after all. But then it got closer, so close I could make out the silhouette of the rider. He was big, broad-shouldered, and hunched over the handlebars in a way that seemed almost predatory. He was just riding there, perfectly matching my speed, not trying to pass. A weird feeling started to creep up my spine. Why was he tailgating me on an empty highway? I sped up a little, hoping he'd take the hint and either pass me or fall back. He just sped up too, that single headlight burning a hole in my mirror. My heart started to pound. This wasn't normal. I tapped my brakes, a quick flash of red lights. Nothing. He stayed right on my tail. The road ahead was straight, no turns for another 5 miles. I felt trapped. I decided to test something. I took my foot off the gas, letting the car coast and slow down gradually. He slowed down with me. Then I sped up again, faster this time, pushing 70 in a 55 zone. He was right there with me, a shadow glued to my bumper. Panic was really setting in now. My hands were slick with sweat on the steering wheel. Who was this guy? What did he want? I glanced at my rearview mirror, then back at the road, then back at the mirror again, and he was gone, just vanished. The single headlight was no longer there. The road behind me was as black and empty as the fields on either side. My mind raced. Did he turn off without signaling? Did he crash? I scanned the sides of the road, but there was nothing. No bike, no rider, no wreckage. It was as if he'd just evaporated into the night air. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. My heart was still hammering against my ribs, but a wave of relief washed over me. It must have been a prank, I told myself. Some local kid trying to spook people on the lonely highway. I shook my head, trying to laugh it off, but the feeling of unease lingered like a bad taste in my mouth. I kept driving, my eyes glued to the rearview mirror just in case. The miles ticked by. The turn from my street was coming up, just a couple more miles. I was starting to relax, telling myself the whole thing was just my overtired mind playing tricks on me, and then, there he was again. That single, piercing headlight, appearing out of nowhere, right back in the same spot, dangerously close to my bumper. This time, the fear was instant and overwhelming. It wasn't a prank. This was something else entirely. How did he do that? Where did he come from? There were no side roads, no hidden driveways. He was just there, the same hunched silhouette, the same unnerving stillness as he matched my speed perfectly. I felt a scream building in my throat, but it was caught, frozen by sheer terror. My mind was screaming at me to do something, anything. I floored it. The engine roared as I pushed the car to its limit, the speedometer needle climbing past 80, then 90. The car shimmied on the old asphalt, but I didn't care. I just had to get away. I risked a glance in the mirror. He was still there. That headlight felt like an eye, staring right through me, unblinking, unmoving. He was keeping pace effortlessly. It felt like an eternity, but it was probably only a minute or two. The road started to curve, a series of U-turns that I knew like the back of my hand. I took them fast, tires squealing in protest. This was my chance. No motorcycle could take these turns at this speed. He had to fall back, he had to crash. I navigated the first turn, my knuckles white on the wheel. I looked in the mirror. He was gone again. The road behind me was empty through the curve. I didn't feel relief this time, just a cold, creeping dread. It was a game to him. He was toying with me. I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that he would be back. I came out of the last curve and onto the final straight stretch before my turn off. I held my breath, waiting. And then, there he was. Not behind me this time. He was beside me. In the lane to my left. I hadn't heard him pull up. 1 second the lane was empty. The next he was there, riding parallel to my car. I couldn't help it. I turned my head to look. It was the worst mistake I could have made. He was wearing a dark, featureless helmet that reflected my own headlights back at me, completely obscuring his face. All leather, all black. But it wasn't the helmet that made my blood run cold. It was the way he turned his head to look at me. A slow, deliberate motion. Even through the dark visor, I felt his gaze on me, and it was filled with an emptiness, a void that seemed to pull all the warmth from the car. Then, he lifted his hand from the handlebar. He didn't wave, he didn't make a gesture. He just slowly, deliberately, pointed a gloved finger at me. And then, he pointed forward, down the road. It wasn't a threat. It felt like a direction, a prophecy. I snapped my eyes back to the road, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I was less than a mile from my turn. I couldn't look at him again. I just focused on the white lines, on the familiar sight of the old oak tree that marked my street. I flicked on my turn signal, my hand trembling so badly I could barely do it. As I started to make the turn, I braced myself. I expected him to follow me, to turn down my quiet residential street. I risked one last fleeting glance in my side mirror as my car swung onto my road. He wasn't turning, he was just continuing straight, down the highway, that single headlight shrinking in the distance until it was just a pinprick of light, and then, just as before, it blinked out of existence. Gone. I didn't stop until I was in my garage with the door closed and locked. I ran inside, locking every door and window, my whole body shaking. I stood in my kitchen for what felt like hours, staring out the window, expecting to see that single headlight appear at the end of my driveway, but it never did. To this day, I don't know who or what that was. I've never seen him again, but I never take that highway home anymore. I take the long way, through the well-lit town, even if it adds 30 minutes to my drive. Sometimes, when I'm driving late at night, I'll see a single motorcycle headlight in my mirror, and my heart will leap into my throat, but it's never him. I've tried to explain it away, an optical illusion, a hallucination from being overtired, but I can't. I know what I saw. I saw him vanish and reappear. I saw him appear right beside me without a sound, and I can still feel that cold, empty gaze through his helmet, and see that gloved finger pointing at me. Then down the road, it felt like he wasn't just following me. It felt like he was showing me where I was going, like he knew my destination all along. And that's a thought that still keeps me awake at night. Thanks for listening, and please, stay safe out there on those lonely roads.